I need another 1,000.
I admire your courage, Miss...
Trench. Sylvia Trench. I admire your luck, Mr.
Bond. James Bond.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Metropolis Radio. Today, we are talking about No Time to Die once again. And more specifically, we're looking at this article from Variety here, No Time to Die box office, 5 takeaways from Daniel Craig's final Bond film. Now, I'm talking about this largely because I am a big James Bond fan, but let me make it very clear. I am not a Daniel Craig James Bond fan, and yes, I do believe there's a difference, and we will go into that by the end of this video. But let's go and tear into this Variety article. Though Daniel Craig's final outing as James Bond won't be one for box office record books, No Time to Die easily took the top spot in North America. Really? Directed by Cary Fukunaga, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his middle name, and co-starring Rami Malek, Leah Seydoux, Lashana, Lynch, and Ralph Fiennes, the latest 007 venture debuted at $56 million over the weekend. Ooh, it easily took the top spot in North America. A result that would have been more dazzling had the film not cost $250 million to produce and at least another $100 million to promote. Despite opening slightly behind expectations, No Time to Die marks a positive step forward for the movie theater business, which has struggled to rebound from the pandemic. With Bond's assist, the overall box office collected $108 million between Friday and Sunday, according to ComScore, marking only the 4th weekend in the past 18 months to cross the $100 million benchmark. Box office experts predict that momentum from No Time to Die and Sony's comic book sequel Venom Let There Be Carnage, which smashed pandemic records earlier in October, portends an especially busy fall and winter at the movies, at least by COVID-19 standards. The box office may continue to ebb and flow between weeks, but for the first time in nearly 2 years, there's a steady stream of buzzy films on the schedule. Throughout the rest of October and early November, movie theater marquees will feature Halloween Kills with Jamie Lee Curtis, director Denis Villeneuve's Dune remake, and Marvel's Eternals. Quote, going forward, business will continue to build, but it will be uneven, predicts David A. Gross, who runs the movie consulting firm Franchise Entertainment Research. 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. Here are 5 takeaways from Bond's latest box office mission. Hollywood hoped Bond, a long-running franchise that has always been particularly popular among older crowds, would bring those moviegoers back in a bigger way after lukewarm ticket sales for The Sopranos prequel, The Many Saints of Newark, Clint Eastwood's Western Cry Macho, the Jessica Chastain-led biopic The Eyes of Tammy Faye, and other offerings intended to appeal to audiences who are less interested in superhero spectacles. Moreover, executives and theater operators were counting on No Time to Die to inspire people to return for numerous awards hopefuls on the calendar later in fall, such as Wes Anderson's The French Dispatch and Pablo Larraín's Princess Diana drama Spencer. No Time to Die sold more tickets to moviegoers over 45 than any other pandemic-era movie, with 36% of ticket buyers over the age of 45 and 57% over 35. Yet the reality is that older audiences have been the most concerned about new variants of COVID-19 and, as a result, haven't been as tempted to go to their local multiplex. Older audiences aren't known to rush out on opening weekend, and reviews have been strong for No Time to Die, which could be a positive sign for the movie's long-term prospects. Older and family audiences are unlikely to return to full strength before the pandemic is completely behind us, Gross says. There have been signs that may be improving, albeit slower than most would have liked. United Artists Releasing, the company distributing the film in the U.S., reported 25% of ticket buyers returned to theaters for the first time in more than 18 months for Bond. But see, here's the problem, though. You don't have a long-running franchise if you only appeal to older members of the audience. It just doesn't happen. So in my opinion, this is an absolutely weak-willed argument that, oh, James Bond only appeals to grandpa. No, if James Bond only appealed to grandpa, then the franchise would have probably died 30 years ago. Just like older audiences have been more or less absent from theaters, another consistency has been boys and men are buying tickets in force. For No Time to Die, audiences skewed heavily male, representing 64% of ticket sales. That was also the case with Venom Let There Be Carnage, $141 million in North America to date. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, $212 million in North America to date. Black Widow, $183 million in North America to date. Now, is that total box office, or is that also adding Disney Plus? See, I don't know, because that was day and date release. And F9, the Fast Saga, $173 million in North America to date. Those properties all cater to younger audiences, which is likely why initial returns were higher than No Time to Die. The 25th Bond outing also faced steep competition from Venom Let There Be Carnage, which opened last weekend and continued to pull in strong numbers. It's possible that moviegoers under 25 were more tempted to see Tom Hardy's mischievous alien symbiote wreak havoc rather than watch Bond emerge from retirement. Can somebody say apples to oranges? Just because somebody wanted to go see Venom Let There Be Carnage does not mean that they're a James Bond fan. Where's your data to back that up, Mrs. Rebecca Rubin? Oh, you have no data to back that up. You're just making fucking assumptions. When people have been going to cinemas, they have been opting to watch the latest blockbuster in the best quality possible. It makes sense since box office charts have been led by spectacles that are filled with CGI and intricate action sequences. In the case of No Time to Die, premium large formats such as IMAX, Dolby, 4DX, and RealD contributed to 36% of overall ticket sales. IMAX alone accounted for 13% of box office revenue, with $7.3 million domestically, marking the company's biggest debut since Aquaman opened in December of 2018. Quote, "The combination of IMAX technology and this iconic franchise has proven to be a winning one at the global box office, with audiences everywhere turning out to experience Cary Fukunaga's immersive filmmaking as it was meant to be seen," Megan Colligan, IMAX Entertainment president, said in a statement. IMAX is reaching and even exceeding pre-pandemic global box office for September and October, which is a very exciting prospect given the upside ahead with audiences and blockbusters still returning to theaters. Expect upcoming visual effects heavy tentpoles like Dune, Eternals, Sony's Spider-Man No Way Home, and the Warner Brothers sequel The Matrix Revolutions to continue that trend. Outside of IMAX, moviegoing has hardly compared to pre-pandemic levels, yet October, which isn't a typically busy period at the box office, is shaping up to be stronger than historically lucrative summer months as audiences return to theaters. Thanks to the Venom sequel and No Time to Die, October has already outpaced May of 2021, the official start to summer blockbuster season in overall ticket sales. For the first time, maybe ever, that has happened. Through its first 10 days, October has generated $269 million in receipts, while the entire month of May, which saw the release of A Quiet Place Part 2, Cruella, and hardly any other compelling titles, brought in $215 million. If Halloween Kills and Dune incentivize movie watchers in droves, October could eclipse July, $583 million, August, $421 million, and June, $409 million, to become the biggest month of the year. Whether or not it breaks records, it marks a notable improvement on the first quarter of the year, with lackluster turnarounds in January of only $64 million, February $56 million, and March $116 million. Quote, "We are seeing numbers in October that we would normally see in the summer," says Paul, I'm going to butcher the hell out of this name, Dagarabedian, says Paul Dagarabedian, a senior media analyst with ComScore. It's going to be one of the more potent Octobers at the box office. With 25 popular movies across 6 decades, Bond has cemented his place as a film franchise with few rivals. The property was a cornerstone of Amazon's $8.45 billion acquisition of MGM, the company that backs Bond. Universal Pictures distributes Bond internationally. That means, although Craig has retired his black tux and signature martini, it'll hardly be the last that audiences see of the coveted Spy series. Though no upcoming projects have been announced, the Bond overlords are likely taking a hard look at how much money they will pump into the next 007 outing, whether on the big or small screen. For No Time to Die, $56 million to start is somewhat disappointing because it carries an enormous budget and will need to gross at least $800 million globally to get out of the red, probably closer to $900 million. Box office experts predict the film will complete its domestic run with approximately $150 million, considerably short of its franchise predecessors, 2012 Skyfall $300 million and 2015 Spectre $200 million. In that case, No Time to Die will need to generate significant coinage at international box office, where it's already amassed a strong $145 million. It is yet to open in China, set for October 29th, which is a popular market for Bond. No Time to Die has grossed $313 million to date and may struggle to break even, at least in its theatrical run. Quote, I don't know that a future Bond property will have the same unique budgetary stressors that this film had, said Degarabedian, referring to the tens of millions the studio had to spend delaying the movie due to the pandemic. Quote, it takes a lot to offset those kinds of costs, but audiences expect a certain level of production value from James Bond. It's true that Bond has become synonymous with extravagance, but there should be ways to reduce cost and still deliver on style to a short and easier path to profitability. May we recommend leasing the Aston Martin? And see, this is the point that I agree with, that James Bond, needs to economize. The problem is that the budgets on it during the Daniel Craig era have gone so ridiculous and so out of control. Like, do you really need $250 million to make a James Bond movie? No, you really don't. But guys, even though this is the end of the article, this is not where I'm going to end the video, because I'm just going to come out and say this. These first 4 points that the article made are complete and utter bullshit. This article is not addressing probably the very real reason why people are avoiding No Time to Die to begin with. Yes, you all read the title, and I firmly stand by that title. Now, some of you may be thinking, oh, it's because the ending leaked that James Bond dies. No, quite contraire. This has been going on for quite some time, long before No Time to Die ever came out. And I think this was the article that really kind of kickstarted, in the more modern sense, time's up for James Bond. Is 007 too toxic for the Me Too era? That came out in 2018. And believe me, there is a point I am going to make with this. And then you get articles here in the Hollywood Reporter, Bond women, how rising stars Lashana, Lynch, and Ana de Armas are helping modernize 007 in November of 2019. Do you kind of see where this is going? And now let's jump over to Esquire. Lashana Lynch confirms she is James Bond's new 007, Haters Be Damned, coming out November 5th of 2020. So let's actually go through and dissect this a bit. In July of 2019, when rumors first began circulating that Captain Marvel star Lashana Lynch would be taking the title of 007 in the next James Bond movie, the response from a loud minority of online trolls was both disgusting and disheartening. Though nothing had been confirmed, far-right toxic fans complained that a black woman had been given the title of 007. Well, again, the franchise is James Bond 007. So when you take the 007 title off of James Bond, yes, fans are going to be pissed off. Which had previously only been used by white men. I don't give a shit. But the whining of internet trolls did not get Lynch down. Later that year, without confirming that she had indeed gotten the title of 007, she responded to the backlash. Oh boy. Quote, "It doesn't dishearten me. It makes me feel quite sad for some people because their opinions, they're not even from a mean place. They're actually from a sad place," she said in November of 2019. "It's not about me. People are reacting to an idea which has nothing to do with my life." Now in a new interview with Harper's Bazaar UK, Lynch has confirmed that she will indeed be the first black woman to take on the title of 007. Lynch told the magazine how she prepped herself emotionally for what would be the inevitable and horrible backlash. She unplugged from social media, blah, blah, blah. Crap, I scrolled too far. Here we go. I am one black woman. If it were another black woman cast in the role, it would have been the same conversation. She would have gotten the same attacks, the same abuse. I just have to remind myself that the conversation is happening and I'm a part of something that will be very, very revolutionary. It's true that some long delayed movement happened across all of Hollywood's major tentpole franchises, including Marvel and Star Wars. We've seen similar backlash in other properties to other actors who are not straight white men. Yes, if you don't know, this is the bend Esquire is going with. And it sounds like Lynch's 007 is going to bring a much needed new perspective to the Bond franchise. In No Time to Die, her character Nomi is expected to pick up the title of 007 while Bond is living in exile in Jamaica. She told Bazaar that she worked with writer Phoebe Waller-Bridge to ensure that character had a, quote, a fresh female perspective, and that was subtly drawn, believable, or perhaps even a little awkward. So, okay, you took the 007 title off of James Bond in this movie. Of course, that's going to piss people off. But I would argue that they took it a step further in sense of fucking with tradition. So what do I mean by they fucked with tradition? I argue that James Bond is known for three things all equally as important. The cars, the gadgets, and the girls. So let's start off by looking at some legacy examples of cars in the James Bond franchise.
You'll be using this Aston Martin DB5 with modifications. Now, pay attention, please. Windscreen bulletproof, as are the side and the rear windows. Revolving number plates, naturally. Valid all countries.
Your new BMW 750. All the usual refinements. Machine guns, rockets, the GPS tracking system.
Welcome. Please fasten seatbelt and obey all instructions for a safe trip.
Thought you'd pay more attention to a female voice.
I think we've met.
I am not interested in your sordid escapades. Let's get on with it, shall we?
Now let's jump forward and look at the Daniel Craig era cars.
I love you too, Ed.
Changing vehicles. Trouble with company cars is they have trackers.
Oh, and I suppose that's completely inconspicuous.
Get in.
So we see in Casino Royale that he's driving the new sportier Aston Martin. So Daniel Craig's James Bond is going back to the Aston Martin. Sometimes a step backwards is a step forwards, but then he immediately goes back to the 1964 Aston Martin that Sean Connery drove in Goldfinger. Actually, I believe that was the car from Thunderball because it had the bulletproof shield. And don't think that it was only because, well, Skyfall marked the 50th anniversary of the James Bond franchise. No, he is seen driving the 64 Aston Martin in the trailer for No Time to Die. He can't let that nostalgia go. So Daniel Craig effectively has no car that defines his run as James Bond, unlike Pierce Brosnan, who primarily drove Beamers. You did have, Sean Connery, he drove, I think the first car he drove was a Bentley, and then switched over to the Aston Martin, but he became synonymous with the Aston Martin. Then you had Roger Moore, who had quite a few cars, but none more iconic than the car from The Spy Who Loved Me.
Can you swim?
When you see that car, you think Roger Moore in The Spy Who Loved Me. What car does Daniel Craig have? In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I believe the last James Bond movie before No Time to Die even made a joke about the Bond car at James's own expense.
Magnificent, isn't she? 0 to 60 in 3.2 seconds. Fully bulletproof, a few little tricks up her sleeve. It's a shame, really. She was meant for you, but she's been reassigned to 009. But you can have this.
Does it do anything?
It tells the time.
So you're going to actively go out of your way to mock one of the three traditions of any James Bond movie. So now let's examine the second tradition, which are the gadgets. Let's take a look at some pretty famous, legendary gadgets.
Well, if I'm going to be forced to watch television, may I smoke?
Yes, give him his cigarettes. It won't be the nicotine that kills you, Mr. Bond.
This is a Class 4 grenade. 3 clicks, arms the 4-second fuse. Another 3 disarms it.
How long did you say the fuse was?
Oh, grow up, 007.
They all said the pen was mightier than the sword.
Thanks to me, they were right. Look, let's ask Fred here to demonstrate for us. Here we are. Sorry about this, Fred. 1, 2, 3.
Now let's take a look at the Daniel Craig era gadgets.
Ticket to Shanghai, documentation and passport. Thank you. And this. Author PPKS 9mm short. There's a microdermal sensors in the grip. It's been coded to your palm print so only you can fire it. Less of a random killing machine, more of a personal statement.
And this?
Standard issue radio transmitter. Activate it and it broadcasts your location. Distress signal. And that's it.
A gun and a radio. Not exactly Christmas, is it?
Were you expecting an exploding pen? We don't really go in for that anymore.
Oh, so Daniel Craig never met up with Q up until Skyfall, and they're gonna poke fun at yet another long-standing tradition with regards to the gadgets, saying something to the equivalent of, oh, what were you expecting, an exploding pen? We don't do anything like that anymore. And again, this was back in Skyfall. This wasn't 2019 No Time to Die marketing. The Skyfall marked the 50th anniversary of the James Bond franchise, and you're going to openly mock one of the three traditions of James Bond. You're going to mock the cars and you're going to mock the gadgets. What is the final tradition? Do I even need to verbalize it? Well, I'm going to verbalize it for those non-James Bond fans that are watching this, and that would be the Bond girls. You know, let's take a trip back in time and examine the Bond girls of yesteryear.
underneath the mango tree. Make Kulu look so.
Hey, slow down. Now, would you mind telling me what the devil you're doing in Cortina?
Your telegram.
What telegram?
It said you found a man and to meet you here today.
I didn't send a telegram. Now, get in. The station, please.
Are we leaving?
Not we, you, and now.
You don't tell me what to do.
Il stazione, Pepper Boy.
Yeah. Just a couple of examples, because I wanted to keep it brief, just give you guys an idea of what the Bond girls were. But now we're going to jump over to this article from Cinemablend that came out in April of 2020. That is why Ana de Armas didn't think she was a good fit for a Bond girl at first. And I'm going to skip a good amount of this and just get to the quotes. This is what Ana de Armas said while being interviewed by Cinemablend. Bond girls have been portrayed for so many years with a specific type of woman I associate with some sort of perfection and beauty standards beyond the normal. Things that I didn't match. I was shocked when the director called me to say, the character is not written yet, but we want you to do it. Huh. So it's almost like they want the Bond girls to be quite attractive, because why is it that men want to be James Bond? Oh, that's right, because they want to bang the Bond girl in the end, just like in these examples.
Oh, no, you don't. This is no time to be rescued.
But James, what would our superiors say?
They're never going to know.
.007, Triple X. Bond, what do you think you're doing?
Keeping the British hand up, sir.
Nobody does it better.
Always wanted to have Christmas in Turkey.
Is that a Christmas joke?
For me? No. Never.
So isn't it time you unwrapped your present?
Oh, I think so.
I thought you said he was with Dr. Jones. It's getting redder.
Must be a premature form of the millennium bug.
What's wrong about you?
Yeah? How so?
I thought Christmas only comes once a year.
That was James Bond being James fucking Bond, risking life and limb so that he can bang the hot Bond girl by the end of the movie. That was the ultimate symbol of James Bond, and now you want to take that aspect out of the Bond franchise. Let's go to the second quote here. Usually these women Bond girls, they need to be rescued or they die or are evil. I needed to read that script and it took a little, but they sent me the scenes. It's important because I want to bring something else to the story. Okay, so, why are you completely discounting The Spy Who Loved Me and, Anya Amasova in, this scene right here?
It's getting cold.
Is there anything I can do to warm you up?
You don't have to worry about me, Mr. Bond. I went on a survival course in Siberia.
Yes, I believe a great number of your countrymen do. What did they teach you?
That it's very important to have a positive mental attitude.
Nothing more practical than that.
Food is also very important.
Mm-hmm. What else?
When necessary, shared bodily warmth.
That's the part I like. what they do in Siberia?
Yes, but not how they do it. You're not trying to take advantage of me, are you?
Thought never crossed my mind. Just when it was getting interesting.
Huh. Almost like Anya Amasova was James Bond's equal in that moment. She was just as capable of seducing Bond as Bond was capable of seducing her. But no. Those types of Bond girls never existed in the franchise before, and we didn't even have, Bond girls like Domino. But more on her in just a minute. So let's take a look at the Bond girls of the Daniel Craig era. Well, really the one that can qualify as a Bond girl.
It's like there's blood on my hands. It's all coming off.
Yeah, I see.
Oh, it's just James Bond crying in the shower with Vesper Lynd. That right there told me they are shitting all over the tradition of the Bond girl. And before you Daniel Craig James Bond fans come at me in the fucking comment section, well, that was the first time that James Bond ever had a truly emotional scene in the movie, because they wanted to show that the Bond girl is not just some sex object. Consider this scene from Thunderball that came out in 1965.
I'm sorry, James. I didn't mean to embarrass you, speaking of love. I know.
I must hurt you again.
You're going away. So sorry, my dear, but it's all over.
No, it's about your brother.
What about him? Francois. He's dead. What happened?
It's a long story, and it involves your friend, Largo. Domino, I need your help.
Of course. That's why you made love to me.
Look, I can't explain what this is all about, but you must trust me.
Because you want me to help you.
Look, Largo had your brother murdered, or it was on his orders. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of people will die, and very soon, if you don't help me.
Oh, so there have been dramatic scenes with actual emotional tension that didn't have any sexual innuendo in the Bond franchise. I wonder why they conveniently leave that out. Oh, that's right, because they're not James Bond fans to begin with. They're Daniel Craig James Bond fans. And that's been the problem. So what are we seeing with the Daniel Craig era of James Bond? Only one of the movies actually had an original car for Daniel Craig to drive. It was the new sportier Aston Martin. So, okay, that one I'll give him. It's not fair to shit all over him. Then we get to the gadgets, where they actively shit all over the idea of gadgets in the film that was supposed to mark the 50th anniversary of the franchise, where gadgets have been a part of it, I believe ever since From Russia with Love. And now you're shitting all over the Bond girl. Maybe that wasn't such a good idea. But will you ever hear that in Variety from Miss Rebecca Rubin? No. And I wonder why they are conveniently ignoring the fact that the Daniel Craig era of James Bond has been shitting all over tradition ever since Skyfall. Remember, they went out of their way to say, what were you expecting? An exploding pen? We don't do stuff like that anymore. So what's that signaling to the old James Bond fans? These new movies are not for you, stop coming. So what are they going to do? They're just not going to fucking show up. Okay, you're making the movies for all the new fans. Well, all the new James Bond fans apparently didn't show up either. And let's go back to the very first point here, and that, you know, that the movie sold more tickets to moviegoers over the age of 45, and that, oh, well, James Bond has only appealed to older audiences. Again, you can't have a long-running franchise if the franchise only appeals to grandpa. If James Bond only appeals to grandpa, then the franchise should have died out 30 fucking years ago. So at this point, it's just a bunch of lame-ass excuses where they don't want to acknowledge why No Time to Die is underperforming. And I think it has to do with the sixth and final point, that they have absolutely fucked with tradition for so long that the James Bond fans are turning around, giving the proverbial middle finger, saying, fuck you, I'm done. And guys, that's pretty much all I've got for you right now. If you stuck around this long, thanks so much for doing so. And if you've been following me long enough, you know I am terrible at ending these videos, so I will just see you guys on next time.